Hello dear viewers, and welcome to another episode of the INFP Corner. A few weeks ago I started this self-development program for INFPs and others, and my last episode was about extroverted sensing. Someone had commented that this doesn't address anything about confrontation and, I guess, force or being aggressive. I've always thought of confrontation as TE, but I could see how it's SE as well. And since I have so much to say about this topic, I thought I would make it into a whole video of its own. So this episode is not just for INFPs. If you find yourself being taken advantage of very frequently, or if you ever have the sense that you're being a doormat, or if you just feel like whenever you do things solely for yourself or take time solely for yourself, you feel selfish, then this is probably the video for you. And also, I don't mean at all to generalize and say that all INFPs are too nice. These are just for those INFPs who feel like they're often being too nice and want to change this aspect of themselves. However, I do believe that the INFP functions in their order have a tendency to make us prone to being too nice. I've been reading the book The Nice Girl Syndrome by Beverly Engel, which is actually a pretty good book, although I feel like she often makes things about gender that doesn't have to be about gender. For example, like the nice girl syndrome can apply to both men and women, but other than that, I think it's actually a really good book. And if you struggle with the phenomenon of being too nice to other people, then I would recommend it. In the book, there's a quote by Jung that says, "I would rather be whole than good." I thought that quote was just an amazing for INFPs who, especially maybe younger INFPs with their FI and SI just halfway developed, they might see things as kind of black and white, being very perfectionistic and idealistic towards their own behavior, and they don't allow themselves to make mistakes and be fully human, thereby being extremely harsh on themselves. But ironically, they often don't apply the same harshness to other people. For example, if someone does something bad to them, they might feel bad but then think, oh, if I were a more developed person, I wouldn't feel bad, like I would rise over it. But then they don't think, well, why is that other person not developing themselves in a way to not be rude to others? I guess I should give a brief obligatory background of myself. It's really interesting because some people on this channel are saying that I can be aggressive, and one person even said that I was a narcissistic ESTJ, which was really amusing. I mean, the comment totally hurt me, but it was really amusing because the background that I wanted to share was that one of my parents is narcissistic, and I was also in a narcissistic, aka like emotionally and physically abusive relationship. It was my first relationship. So I guess what I'm saying is I have a lot of experience with bad boundaries and being too nice and letting people walk all over me. But I think after, a year of therapy, I became a lot better. Just being really conscious of this phenomenon and navigating the world with it in mind has really helped me grow as a person to the point where people think I can be a confrontational ESTJ, which is actually kind of flattering. Okay, so on to the phenomenon of being too nice. I know a lot of INFPs are probably watching this and thinking, I am nice, but that's my values. Like, just because being nice gives me bad results, that's TE, doesn't mean I'm gonna abandon my values and stop being nice. Like, I totally understand that, but look, what's missing from this equation is, are you being nice enough to yourself? I know INFPs are so fair and they're so just towards everyone, but then they forget that, especially as introverts, we forget that we are part of the world. Like, we are also an individual in the external world, even though we're inside ourselves, whatever. You have to be able to apply these principles of fairness that you're applying to everyone also onto yourself. So if someone is constantly late, something trivial like that, if someone is always late to your meetings and therefore is disrespectful of your time, because that's what it indicates, you can give them the benefit of the doubt and be more patient and nice, but in that case you would be valuing their time over yours, which is completely unfair to yourself. And it does boil down to a very important issue, which is respect. I think a lot of NFs, they naturally respect. I mean, anyone can respect anyone else, but I meant like, a lot of NFs are very prone to giving everyone respect regardless, and they just can't fathom that a lot of people in the real world, they respect people who are above them or who command respect or who respect themselves. Like, it's not just something that they give by default to everyone, even though we might do that. And we expect the same treatment. We think, okay, if we're nice to everyone, then everyone by default would respect me. But that's just unfortunately not how it works out in the real world. Even like very individualistic people are still followers. When they're treating someone a certain way, they determine their treatment of that person by example, by how other people treat them. But how do the other people know? It's through how they treat themselves, right? So you need to treat yourself well. Here's another point. Stop being so nice. Like, seriously, I think this is probably going to resonate more to younger INFPs because I definitely was doing this all the time as a teenager, was thinking that if I am just nice enough, if I do enough nice things, then people will like me. What's happening here is that you think that people should like you because you're doing nice things for them, and this for them thing, subconsciously, it's like creating a sense of like, you owe me. Like, I did all these things for you, and therefore you should give me affection in return. And really, no one likes to be obligated. It's also setting up a dynamic of how unlovable and how unworthy of a person are you to have to bargain and barter for other people's attention and love. People don't like other people because they're nice. Unfortunately, they like them for random reasons, or they like them because they're high value. The other thing is that if you're constantly trying to get other people to like you by doing nice things, you set yourself up as this low value person because you are in the position of vying for other people's affection. So you're placing yourself in a low position of power. Okay, this does not mean that you cannot do nice things for people. It's just you can't do nice things to be liked. You should just do nice things because you feel like doing it. Okay, so when you're doing the thing, it's coming from your heart and you don't expect anything in return necessarily, and that's the only true nice thing. But if you ever get the urge to do something nice to get the other person to like you, instead of doing that thing for the other person, you should use that time and effort to do something nice for yourself so that you grow in value as a person. For example, you can exercise or rest or work on a project that you've been meaning to get done. Yeah, if you use all of the time to work on yourself and become a better person, then more people, although not all people, of course, will naturally like you. And I know a lot of people are thinking, I don't care if people like me, blah, blah, blah. It's fine. I often don't care either. And a lot of people are like, I'm not being nice for other people to like me. I'm just being nice because it's the right thing to do. Well, I understand. And I'm, I guess, asking you to re-examine all INFPs with their NE and SI. They go through life refining their FI principles, and sometimes you forget to do it. Also, I wanted to mention this study, or I read this somewhere, that if you want someone to like you more, instead of doing something nice for them, you should ask them to do something nice for you, aka ask them for a favor. And this is really interesting because the reason why it works is that there's a thing called cognitive dissonance. I'm sure most of you know what it means, but it's basically your brain wants to be congruent to whatever else is happening, or it just wants everything to be congruent and consistent so it can make sense of the world. So if you're physically doing something nice for the other person, your brain says, okay, you must like this person, otherwise why are you doing this thing? And thus, the more nice things you do for someone, the more you like that person. And I've generally found this to be true. So if you're constantly being nice over other people over yourself, what happens is that your self-esteem actually decreases because you're prioritizing other people over yourself. For example, you have two things to do. One's important to you, one's important only to your friend. And you constantly choose your friend, then your brain is going to be like, well, other people are obviously more worthy than me because my actions, this is what my actions are saying to my brain. And for that reason, you can start small, but gradually start doing nice things for yourself to build up self-esteem. This leads me to the end of the video. This is so important. If you really, really like someone, I have this problem all the time. Recently I kind of got rid of it, but I used to have this problem all the time, and I feel like so many INFPs have this. If you really, really like someone, that's actually something that you're contributing to the relationship. I used to think that if I have intense feelings for someone, then that's their contribution to the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought it doesn't matter that the other person is doing literally zero nice things, it is contributing nothing to the relationship. I really like them. I see that I see my affection as something that they're contributing. So even if they're doing nothing, I still think, okay, I'm going to do a bunch of nice things in this relationship. Look how much they're contributing. No, your affection is actually something that you're bringing to the relationship. You know, on that note, if they like you a lot, that's something that they're bringing to the relationship. So I know some people have the reverse thing where it's like, for example, I'm contributing nothing to a relationship, but the guy likes me a lot, so I think, oh look, he likes me, so that's what I'm contributing. No, it's what someone's feelings are actually that person's contribution to a relationship. Honestly, in the past few weeks, a lot of other INFPs, which thank you INFPs for asking me questions. I really appreciate it. Yeah, some INFPs have been asking me about how to handle crushes and if they're, embarrassed about their feelings for someone. Oh my gosh, you guys have no idea how much I actually relate to this because usually when I have deep feelings for someone, I become really embarrassed about it. I see my affection, my feelings as a liability because they're so intense in me that I think of it as like a liability to the other person. That's why I don't want the other person to know. I mean, this was all like when I was a teenager, but anyway, I don't want the other person to know. And I think it's a burden, which is really, really sad. I guess I see it as a burden because I see that other person as like the cause of all of my feelings, and I see that as like something that they're unwittingly contributing to a relationship. Therefore, I'm burdening the. Oh my god, I'm burdening them. But this is completely untrue. Your feelings, INFPs, your feelings are a gift. It's a total gift. Like, people will be so lucky to know that you feel a certain way. And I believe this from the bottom of my heart, guys. I mean, that was like the most FE thing you'll ever hear from me, but it's true. My feelings are a great contribution to any relationship. Not the only contribution. It doesn't mean like, oh, I like you, therefore I don't have to contribute anything else. But it is, the important thing is to realize that it's your contribution, not the other person's. And also, on a more zen note, your feelings actually, they don't come from the other person. It doesn't mean that you can literally just be with anyone. It doesn't even matter. Like, the other person is important and they're still a good person. Like, you can still like aspects of them and the aspects are true, but your feelings actually come from you. Sometimes when we're happy in a relationship, we think, oh, my happiness is caused by the other person. Sometimes the other person does nice things and that's great. But just think back to before you had the other person. Every time you felt happy, you just had it. When you were a baby, you felt happy and sad. Like, everyone is kind of having their emotions built in, and other people, and basically the external world is like a protection board for you to project your feelings upon. It doesn't mean that everything's neutral, it doesn't matter. It's just that your feelings come from yourself and they're a gift to the world. Thank you very much. Bye. I hope this was an enjoyable and helpful video for you guys. If you like this series, or if it's your first time here, I'm Calypso, I'm an INFP, I make videos for the internet. If you want to support my videos and Alex's videos and our projects, you can check out our Patreon. And every little bit helps a lot. It will help us continue to spend the same amount of time and effort and money into our projects as we have been thus far. And of course, I would like to say thank you to all of our current patrons. Every one of you means so much to us. Happy holidays, by the way. Also, for people who frequent our channel, maybe you've noticed that I've been here a lot. You've been seeing a lot of me. It is around Christmas time. I think the original plan was that we were gonna take like a 2-week break, but I really wanted to keep up the consistency of our videos. So for these 2 weeks, you're gonna see a lot of me. Sorry to people who don't like me, but yeah. And then for the next 2 weeks, which is the 2 weeks after New Year's, probably you're gonna see a lot of Alex. And then after that, we will quickly become normal. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending time with me on this channel, and I'm curious to know if you relate to any of the things I've said and what your theories and observations are towards this matter of being nice. I will see you next time.